Welcome back. Well, Americans lost $201 million in online romance scams last year. So today, to help us understand what these scams are and obviously most importantly what you can do to avoid them, the one and only Jessica Schindeldecker. Welcome back. It's good to see you.
Great to be here.
So romance scams, what is that?
Yeah, well, happy Valentine's Day, right? So that's why we're going to talk about romance scams. The unfortunate part is there are people out there who are willing to take advantage of people in our country, in our community even, that are looking for love, that are looking for legitimate relationships. And so what happens is these individuals, they reach out and they establish relationships through online dating places or even just somewhere online. And they just like any other thing, like child predators, they groom them. So they start to develop that relationship, that trust, and they talk online, and they start different types of communication, such as through the phone. And for the most part, they live somewhere else. And there have also been people who have impersonated or posed as a military person overseas who is deployed. So it's really, you just don't know who you're talking to. That's just what we really need to remember. You never know who you're talking to. They develop those relationships with you, and then they say like, oh, hey, would you be able to send me a care package? Could you send me some money for this via, gift cards or a check or a wire balance? And that's where we're seeing that, and it just starts to add up over time. And there was one time many years ago when I took a lobby call, and this poor lady thought that she was in a relationship with a soldier overseas, and she had been wiring him money, and she had been sending him other things too as well. And she was out that money. We never got that back for her, and it was almost $15,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So obviously she's transferring this money overseas, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and you don't know you don't know who these people are, where they're at, if they're sitting in a call center, like in a center somewhere where they're all talking on, computers, trying to establish these relationships, and they truly feel they're legitimate because of the way that they're talking to each other, and I love you, and talking about intimate things and personal things like you would in a normal relationship. So not only are you out money, but you're also out that feeling of victimization when you're just looking for a legitimate relationship.
So now that like video calls are so prevalent these days, are people even like faking that somehow? Or
I haven't heard that, but that would be one thing. If they're not, that would be a red flag. If they're not willing to chat video-wise, like Skype or FaceTime, things like that, that should be a red flag. Another thing is, for the most part, if you have a loved one that's overseas, a lot of times they're not able to just talk to you whenever you want to. You're not able to call them and get a hold of them as easily, especially if they're on deployment. So that's another red flag right there. But it's just, we have to be so guarded now, especially with anything we do over email and online, because you just don't know who you're talking to.
So bottom line, unless I can actually see the whites of their eyes and know that it's real, just ignore the conversation.
Right, and for the most part, in a healthy relationship, they shouldn't be asking for money. They shouldn't be making you feel guilty if you're not willing to provide them any sort of financial means or support any other way. So that's going to be a negative thing in any type of relationship, not necessarily just any type of online type of thing. But that's going to be a huge red flag, is if they start asking for money, especially if it's newer in the relationship, within a few months or weeks even.
Well, and you brought up the word grooming. I mean, some guys are people, I should say. You see some of these people, they do it for years and years and years until they actually make people victims. Anything else you want to add about this?
No, it's just if you do suspect anything like this, it's really important to make sure you report it to the FTC. They're the ones that really follow these types of online scams and are able to do more with it. And a lot of times when they start to figure out IP addresses and usernames, they might notice that somewhere else or across the country, and they can build a bigger case.
So, fun question I have for you. Your favorite rom-com is what?
Rom-com?
Yeah. Romantic comedy?
Oh, jeez.
She's like, rom-com? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, Runaway Bride.
Runaway Bride?
It's the first one that came to my mind. Yeah, Runaway Bride.
What was that about?
It's Richard Gere and who else? I'm like, so.
Oh, and they...
What was it? Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. That one's a cute one.
Julia Roberts.
And Hope Floats. Harry Connick Jr. and Sandra Bullock. Those two are.
All of a sudden they're like popping.
Yeah, all of a sudden now I'm like, all right, I got it.
Great to have you here as always.
Yeah,
We appreciate it. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, stay with us. We got much more coming up right after this.